Resolution number 494, principally to look for ways and means by which we can speed up and plug whatever gaps there may be in the implementation of government projects, more particularly in the DOTC specifically, with the MRT, as well as the Land Transportation Office. May we request the Secretary to kindly acknowledge the presence of our guests for the record.
Good morning, everyone. Would like to acknowledge the presence of DOT officials, Yusek Rene Limcauco, Yusek Julianito Bucayan Jr., Attorney Al S. Bitangcol III, Yusek Jose Perpetuo Lotilla, Attorney Emiliano Bantog Jr., and the rest of the staff, Asek Camille Alcaraz, Attorney Zenaida Biteng, Ms. Benilda Arodil, Mr. Enrico Almeda.
Gentlemen and ladies, good morning. Bago po tayo magsimula, may I ask, before recognizing Attorney Bitangcol, may I ask either Yusek Lotilla or Yusek Limcauco, just a general overview for the record. Ilan ba tong MRT at LRT at ilan yung currently tumatakbo at ilan yung gagawin o ginagawa pa?
I think there are, well, Jim Bitangcol can correct, I think there are 80 trains.
No. Ilang MRT yan? You have LRT.
Three lines, sir. Three lines, LRT1, LRT2, and MRT3.
And MRT3.
Yes, sir.
Tatlo lang yung tumatakbong tren ngayon.
Plus PNR.
Yung dumadaan sa Aurora Boulevard, that's part of
Line 2. That's,
LRT Line 2.
yes,
Yun ang 2.
that's 2. Yes, sir.
Ito MRT3.
Yes, sir.
What is 4? The proposed 4. May narinig din akong MRT7. Ano yung mga yun?
7 is the one that traverses from traverses Commonwealth Avenue until San Jose del Monte.
7 yun.
7.
Yun yung proposed 7.
Yes, sir.
Ano nangyari po sa 4, 5 at 6?
The 4, 5, and I'm not familiar with 5 and 6. I think
May presume, LRT1, LRT2, MRT3, MRT7 yung congressional. Ano nangyari sa 4, 5 at 6?
what I know, Mr. Senator, is that this was all from a old, I think, JICA plan many years ago. So they identified possible LRT lines starting with 1, what I know is 1 to 6. I don't know about.
Pero nasa 7 na tayo.
Yes. So now what 4 is the one that traverses Quezon Avenue.
4.
Yes. But it's not existent yet.
Yun yung proposed.
Yan yung proposed.
So iba
sa
pa
plano.
yung 4 sa Quezon Avenue, sa 7 sa Congressional Avenue until San Jose.
Opo.
So 5,
5, I'm not sure, Mr. Senator. It's an old plan that was not implemented fully because the cityscape has changed already.
so what's the status of 4 and 7?
7 has been approved by the NEDA board already, and it is awaiting the issuance of the performance undertaking from the Department of Finance.
Meaning to say, ipipipipi ba yan? O,
Na-PPP na ho ito. It's been approved by the NEDA board, and once the DOF issues the performance undertaking, then the concessionaire can proceed with the
Sino po yan? Concessionaire na yan?
Universal LRT.
Comprised of?
It's San Miguel and the group of Mr. Zamora, I understand. I'm not sure if that's all of them, but we do.
Which
we do-
Zamora?
Salvador Zamora.
And how long have you been waiting for the DOF green light?
They were supposed to get the PU about years ago, but
What's PU, sir?
performance undertaking, sir. But the PU was not obtained because they failed to obtain financial close. Because they failed to obtain financial close from at the scheduled time. Sir, under the agreement, they were supposed to obtain financial close, then the PU would issue. Since they did not get financial close, then the board had to review under the rules the project once again. So that went through the review again.
So that's the current status. Thank you.
Yes, and it's been reviewed and it was approved, I think, a few months ago, after the second review, sir. And so now they're waiting for the PU.
Gano'ng katagal na po itong 7 na to?
When was it?
Who can answer?
Matagal na. 2000.
It was approved by NEDA 2000.
Year?
2008 kaya.
The original approval there was 2009.
2009. So it's been 4 or 5 years?
Pretty much.
Wala pang kahit na isang pako o isang supot ng semento?
Wala pa ho.
We're waiting for what again? The financial close again?
The performance undertaking. The concessionaire is waiting for the performance undertaking.
But I thought before the PU will be issued, they have to comply with some requirements. In other words, sinong may utang? Sino may kulang? Yung concessionaire o gobyerno?
The government ho.
So Department of Finance,
DOF.
in particular.
Yes.
Maybe require or invite the Department of Finance in the next hearing. On MRT4, ano naman ang status po nun?
There's no project ho now.
No project to speak of.
No.
No PPP, no NEDA approval, no nothing.
Wala ho. Not that I know of. And then wala ho.
None.
Not that I know of.
So kwentong kutsero lang yung...
It's a plan ho. There was a plan, or as I said, Mr. Senator, before.
Years ago.
Identifying all of these, but as of now, there's
Actually, Music Limcaoco, some of these problems antedate most of you. But we call this hearing principally to find out the reasons for these backlogs. Because I read in the newspaper yesterday, your spokesperson said yung pinapaimbestigahan ni Senator Osmeña, yung Mactan Cebu. Ang sabi ng spokesperson, this should have been done 10 years ago. I'm talking about the Mactan deal, the Mactan Airport deal. So it took 10 years for us to reach where we reached last week. And yet there is still a pending Supreme Court decision questioning it. It's precisely these circumstances that we want to look into. Dahil ang DOTC project, usually matagal naman talaga ma-implement dahil yung project, yung nature ng project, whether highway, whether train, airport, matagal ho gawin yan eh. Like, you're familiar with the Mactan Airport deal. When will that be completed if it is started today?
The completion is about 36 months.
So you're talking 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Tapos na term ng Pangulo.
Yes, sir.
So by 2017, late 2016 or 2017.
Yes, sir.
Yun na, ganun katagal from the time you
Correct.
give the green light.
Yes, sir.
The same is true for our train system. How long did it take for us to construct MRT3? From the groundbreaking up to the time the train was actually used. Attorney Bitangkol?
Good morning,
Morning, sir.
Mr. Senator. The MRT3 project was conceived probably 4 or 5 years prior to its actual operations in 1999. We have on records papers dating back in 1994, but the actual operation began in 1999.
So mga 4 or 5 years in construction.
Yes, Your Honor.
The same is true if at all would be for MRT7. 4 or 5 years din yung construction kung sisimulan today.
Yes, sir.
Di ba?
Yes, sir. They generally...
The mic, sir.
It would depend on the length. So, if it's very long, ganun ho, yung mga 4 or 5 years. But what sometimes they do is they implement it by segments. So they'll open first segment 1, which might be open in 2 years. So it depends ho yung sa the planning of the what they call the construction ho. But generally yes, about 4 years.
4 to 5 years. Thank you, Yusek Lingaco. Now, Attorney Bitangkol, sir, can you give us a history of MRT? You started already by saying it was conceptualized sometime in 1994 under the BOT law. Di ba?
Yeah, sure. The whole project was constructed under the provisions of the Build, Operate, and Transfer Law.
BOT law.
And a Build, Lease, and Transfer Agreement, BLT agreement, was executed between the Department of Transportation and Communications and MRT Corporation, a private entity.
At that time, owned by who?
At that time, Your Honor, it's a joint venture and consortium between several entities. Particularly, there is the Phil Estate Group, the group of Mr. Jan Sobrepeña, Ayala Corporation, Ramcar, and some minority shareholders
At that time.
at that time, Your Honor.
The length is how many kilometers?
Your Honor, the whole line runs at 16.9 kilometers from North Avenue to Taft Avenue in Pasay.
16.9 kilometers, and you have how many trains in operation at that time?
At that time, Your Honor, the total number of cars is 73. And the configuration for every car is for every train is a 3-car system. And the system can accommodate 20 trains at one time.
20 trains with 3, so that's 60
Yes, sir. At any one time.
at any one time.
It cannot be more than 20 cars at one time.
20 cars moving along the tracks.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa ngayon, ganun pa rin ba?
Yes, Your Honor. It's still the same.
So if we add additional cars, if it's still 20 trains along the tracks, how will it improve ridership?
Your Honor, when we implement the capacity expansion program for MRT3, it will no longer be a 3-car system, but it will be a 4-car system. So, adding additional car for every train will effectively increase the capacity by 33%. And then, instead of 20 trains rather, we will be running 24 trains in a given hour.
So instead of 20 trains with 3 cars, you will have 24 trains with 4 cars.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Tama. The capacity of MRT when it was constructed was for how many passengers, sir?
It has a design capacity of 320,000 passengers per day.
320,000 passengers at 20 trains at 3 cars each.
Yes, Your Honor.
But actual usage is how many?
Right now, Your Honor, we are averaging 560,000 a day with a maximum ridership that we have recorded at 620,000 sometime in 2012.
At 24 trains and 4 cars each, what would be the available capacity?
The capacity, Your Honor, will be around 750,000 a day.
So more than what we have now.
Yes, Your Honor.
May room for increase pa.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the recent contract awarded, when was it conceptualized? Awarded to Dalian? Dalian ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
When was it started? The planning for the acquisition of additional trains, when was it started?
Can I defer that to the...
When did you realize
Our
that we
Undersecretary
needed
for
more
Planning.
trains? When did you want to obtain more trains?
Us, about 2012, early 2012, when we came in, Mr. Senator.
When you came in, but prior to your entry into the department, I think there were plans already by the DOTC to acquire additional trains. I saw some communications between DOTC and MRTCO in this regard.
Oh, yes. In 2000, we saw some correspondence, Your Honor, to mga 2004 and 5.
2004, 2005.
Yes, sir.
So 10 years in the making siya, if ever. Again, some of these problems antedate you, Yusek.
Yes, sir.
10 years in the making din siya.
Yes, sir.
Now, this contract that was awarded, is there a pending case before the RTC up to now?
No. It's now with the CA.
On appeal, on reconsideration, on review, because the RTC lifted the TRO.
On appeal, Your Honor.
On appeal.
Yes, Your Honor.
Nag-hearing na ron.
Wala pa, Your Honor. But has been filed with the CA, Your Honor.
But this is the RTC case.
Yes, Your Honor. Because
Now-
the RTC did not grant the petition for the injunction, Your Honor.
How many additional trains will we get or cars will we get from this deal? Amounting to
3.7
3.7
billion pesos, Your Honor.
Yeah.
We will be getting an additional 48 new cars, Your Honor.
48 new cars. May kasamang train na bago, wala.
Sir, those are new cars which will be connecting to form trains.
Kaya may trend na talaga. Iba yung, when I refer to train, I'm referring to the head. O isa na yan, sama-sama na yan.
Sir, it's one and the same. The structure for MRT3 is different from PNR. In PNR, you would have a locomotive head
Yeah.
that would pull cars. But in MRT3, all the cars are interchangeable.
All the cars, tumatakbo sa lahat.
Yes, Your Honor.
Whether mag-isa o may kasama.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, an additional 48 trains, completion of delivery would be when?
It will be by 2016, Your Honor.
It is supposed to be 2017, right? But it
Yes,
was
Your Honor.
shortened to 2016.
Yes, Your Honor.
All 48 will be delivered by 2016, end of 2016?
Your Honor, it will be delivered on a staggered basis. It will be 3 cars per month.
3 cars per month beginning when?
Beginning a 1-year period from the time of the award.
So, what are we talking about? February next year?
February next year.
Starting February next year, 3 trains per month will arrive or are supposed to arrive.
Yes, Your Honor.
That can immediately be used.
Yes, Your Honor.
For the record, and also for the information of the public, correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Vitangcol, the problem with these trains is that they're not off the shelf. You
No, Your
cannot
Honor.
buy them, you cannot award it, and then parang paperclip o lapis o bond paper, bili ka sa National Bookstore, pag nabayaran mo na, bibigyan na sa'yo. They have to actually manufacture these trains,
Yes, Your Honor. It has to be made to order, Your Honor.
specifically for our purposes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hindi siya generic, kumbaga.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, on MRT Co, what's the current status of MRT Co in relation to government's efforts in the past years, especially under the previous administration, to reprivatize it supposedly at that time?
Your Honor, right now, the structure of the ownership of the MRT Corporation is actually vague, considering that we do not have the actual records pertaining to the ownership. But
What do you mean by no records pertaining to the ownership?
we are not provided with the actual records, Your Honor, as an operator.
Wala ba sa general information sheet yan sa SEC? Aren't they registered before the SEC?
Yes, they are, Your Honor. They are registered with the SEC.
So, who owns it right now? Buti pa, sino yung nagdemanda sa inyo na taga MRT ko? Dinimanda kayo, di ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sino siya? Sino nagdemanda sa inyo?
Your Honor, based on the records on hand that we have, the Phil Estate owns 15.79% of MRT Corporation.
Mhm.
Anglo Philippines, 15.7% also. Railco, which is Ramcar, owns 15.7% also. Sheridan owns 13.5%. Then DBH Incorporated owns 4.08%. And DBP and Land Bank owns approximately 19.8%. Based on the assumptions given by the, or claims made by Metro Pacific Incorporated, MPIC, DBP
This is the
owns-
one owned by Mr. Pangilinan.
Yes, Your Honor. MRT Holdings Inc. owns 84.99%, Phil Estate 12.7%, and other minority shareholders 2.4%.
Saan napunta yung DBP Land Bank na 19%?
Your Honor, the DBP owns 18.6 and Land Bank 4.8 also, Your Honor.
Sobra ka na.
The total is 100%, Your Honor.
Again, rewind. Anong pag-aari ng MPIC?
Sir, I am not privy as to the actual ownership, but these are based on the records that we...
You have to understand, during GMA's time, we investigated this as well. Binili ng Land Bank at DBP yung economic interest na sinecuritize ng MRT ko. In simple language, yung income o future income ng MRT, sinecuritize ng MRT ko at binenta sa publiko. Now, at that time, the administration wanted to reprivatize the MRT kasi clearly disadvantageous to the government yung pinasukan terms and conditions sa MRT. So gusto nila i-reprivatize, meaning to say, bilhin uli ng gobyerno and under better terms, reprivatize it para hindi naman tayo lugit ape. So DBP and Land Bank proceeded to buy and lap up the securitized future income of MRT Co. I think they were able to get a little less than, what do you be familiar, 90%,
Your Honor.
80%. So hawak na nila yun. Ang dating sa akin at that time, nung nag-imbestiga kami, nagulat sila na hindi sila pinayagan magkaroon ng board seat pagkatapos nilang bilhin yun. But any corporate lawyer could have told them that. That does not translate to automatic ownership of the shares, neither does not translate to automatic seats in the board. But I don't think they could be that stupid. So right now, that's where we are pa rin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Meaning government has the entire revenue flow, about 80% of the revenue flow, through DBP and Land Bank, and yet we do not control the company?
Your Honor.
Attorney Yusek Rodilla?
Your Honor, what happened was they entered into some kind of cooperation agreement with the equity shareholders of MRT Co. So what happened was that Land Bank and DBP reached an agreement whereby they were able to install their directors in MRT Co.
Dun sa equivalent na 19 roughly percent nila. Tama ba?
More than that, Your Honor, because what happened was they were able to install, I think, roughly out of 15, I think they were able to install around 9 or 11
So majority na
directors.
sila.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Majority na. So they control now MRT Co.
Yes, Your Honor.
So how come MRT Co sued the OTC?
It is a strange theory, Your Honor, actually, because the suit was actually started by a holding company, which is one step removed from MRT Co. MRTH, MRT Holdings, and they were citing some kind of derivative right, Your Honor. And in fact, they have even tried to commence arbitration proceedings outside of the country.
I heard, citing the contract.
Yes, Your Honor. Again, on a theory of a derivative right, Your Honor, which we believe, Your Honor, has no basis under Philippine corporate law, Your Honor.
To your knowledge, Yusek Rodilla, how many MRT companies are there? It was morphed, it was merged, it was spinned off. How many?
Well, there are two basic
MRT Co, one.
MRT Co, which is the one that owns the system, and MRT Development Co, which was a spun-off company, Your Honor, under the build, lease, and transfer agreement. It was spun off to acquire the rights, Your Honor, over the, in effect, the developmental
Advertising.
rights.
The advertising, basically.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
So, dalawa yun.
Yes.
Ano tong holdings?
These are layered companies, Your Honor, behind MRT Co. These are companies that own the equity in MRT Co, Your Honor. So, effectively, the ultimate shareholders, which are basically the ones mentioned by GM Vitangcol, Your Honor, hold them through various holding companies na layered po yun,
At
Your
sila yung
Honor.
nagdemanda.
Opo, Your Honor.
So, it's not the administration of MRT Co?
No, Your Honor.
It's not the CEO or COO or the president of MRT Co?
No, Your Honor.
Do I take it that the chairman now is a nominee of Land Bank and DBP
Yes, Your Honor.
in the person of?
Chairman De Leon, Your Honor. Tomas De Leon.
And I presume also the president is nominated by DBP and Land Bank
Yes, I believe, Your Honor.
in the person of?
I think it's Chairman and President, Your Honor.
Chairman and president.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the members of the board are nominees. The 9 or 11 members are nominees of DBP and Land Bank.
Yes, Your Honor.
Through a letter of authority or direction coming from the president? Or just through Land Bank and DBP?
Basically, from Land Bank of and DBP flowing through the so-called cooperation agreement between the original shareholders, Your Honor, and Land Bank and DBP, which came about when Land Bank and DBP acquired the beneficial interest over the cash flows of the company, Your Honor.
Now, going to MRTCO, what's the plan of government now? Insofar as reprivatization, which was the plan initially of the previous administration.
Your Honor, the so-called equity value buyout, Your Honor, is in process, Your Honor.
But it has been in process, sir, for the longest time.
Your Honor,
Ano yan, para maubos na 100%?
Your Honor, actually, it is a process which is predicated on the build lease transfer contract itself, Your Honor. This has been given greater impetus by the fact, Your Honor, that an executive order has already been issued by the President, Your Honor, to effect the equity value buyout.
To effect the equity value
Yes,
buyout.
Your Honor.
So the direction is still to reprivatize it.
Effectively, yes, Your Honor.
So acquire it and then reprivatize it again and let the private sector run it.
I think that is the direction, Your Honor.
Attorney Binangol, you confirm that?
Yes, Your Honor.
As GM of MRT3, you are with the DOTC, of course.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, anong papel ng MRTCO nung under the BLT? If you are with government and Land Bank and DBP are now in MRTCO, sino yung private sector na nagpapatakbo dapat yan?
Well, Your Honor, if I may just
Yes, please.
give under the BLT agreement, Your Honor, actually, what it says there is that operations is with government, but the maintenance obligation is an obligation of the private sector, which is MRT Co, Your Honor. And there are appurtenant obligations to that maintenance obligation, Your Honor, and which gave rise to that is the reason why, Your Honor, that the suit was filed to
Prevent government from buying new trains
Yes,
because
Your
it was
Honor.
part of their maintenance function daw.
Yes, Your Honor. They claimed, Your Honor, that they have the right to capacity expansion, that they have a right of first refusal, effectively, Your Honor. So, in theory, Your Honor, the owner of the system should have complied with its obligation to government, Your Honor, to provide the system
With
that
trains.
was needed, Your Honor. Meaning, way back when capacity was hit, I think that 350,000, if I'm not mistaken, was breached as early as 2004 or 2003, Your Honor. That should have been the step that should have been taken, Your Honor. Meaning they should have already exercised the obligation to provide additional cars, additional trains to the system, and upgraded the system to make it hit the required performance indicator stated in the contract, Your Honor. And what happened was the initial maintenance contract, which was with the Sumitomo Corporation, which was awarded by the original shareholder, MRT Co., in accordance with the BLT contract, was for 10 years, Your Honor. Unfortunately, when the 10 years lapsed from the time that they started operations of MRT3, Your Honor, there was, I don't know for what reason, there was no, for instance, no renewal or rebidding of the old maintenance contract, Your Honor. So the 10-year contract...
By the private company.
By the private company, Your Honor. So the 10-year contract lapsed, Your Honor. And so what happened was there were extensions, I think 1-year extensions, several 1-year extensions were given, Your Honor. But, I mean, since government was already operating the system, Your Honor, and the private sector was not there, was not getting the new maintenance contract, Your Honor, government reached a certain point, Your Honor, where we could not anymore renew the contract, Your Honor, because we were already hitting the limits of this 1-year extensions, Your Honor. That's why government had to have an emergency.
Out of curiosity, sir, what's the limit of the 1-year extensions?
It's roughly, Your Honor, I think it's around 2 1-year extensions, Your Honor. That's what we follow, Your Honor, as a...
From what law? Sorry, sir, because right now LTO is doing that too with Stratcom. You're doing 1-year extensions too. Actually, a few months extension, but that's another topic. So, what's the law? What's the basis? Saan nakalagay na may cap o limit yung 1-year extensions nyo? Please, Attorney Bitengol.
Your Honor, I believe it's based on the Government Procurement Act, Republic Act number 9184, wherein extensions cannot be more than 50% of the original contract amount.
Contract amount or period? Contract amount?
I believe so, Your Honor. I'm not sure, Your Honor.
So anyway, so like the trains, yung operation and maintenance, pinasukan nyo na rin, nirebid ninyo, nagbid kayo.
It was bidded out, Your Honor, but the initial was an interim arrangement, because what happened was when DOTC wanted to have the private sector procure the maintenance, because that's really the provision of the contract. Unfortunately, for some reason or other, that was not done. And as government, Your Honor, we did not want to see a situation where the trains could stop, or there might be problems in the operation of the trains. That's why government had to have an interim maintenance arrangement, Your Honor.
Now, who is paying for this, government?
Yes, Your Honor. As provided in the BLT contract, Your Honor, government pays for maintenance, Your Honor.
So under the BLT agreement, government pays for the additional trains, which the private sector, the operator, will procure, and the private sector also enters into operations and maintenance agreements, which the government will again pay? Ano ba yan?
Your Honor, with respect to the provision of additional trains, Your Honor, the provision was actually that it should be the private sector that should provide, because they had the right of first refusal, Your Honor.
When you say provide, they will pay.
Yes, Your Honor, meaning they will purchase and install, Your Honor, in the system.
At no additional cost to government.
The theory, I believe, Your Honor, is that it would be installed and purchased by the private sector, Your Honor, but it meant that the government will have to pay an additional amount because of the installation of this additional capacity in the system, Your Honor.
Pay an additional amount equivalent to what? They'd be earning more from the additional passengers.
Well, except, Your Honor, that you see the fare box, Your Honor, is controlled by government, because government is the one operating the entire system. So when let's say had the private sector exercised the right of first refusal and provided the additional trains and the upgrade to the system, then I think the assumption in the contract, Your Honor, was that there would be new negotiations at the very least where they would charge government a certain amount. But what we have seen, Your Honor, from the behavior of the private sector since that time, Your Honor, was that they were actually looking forward to a situation where they would provide the additional capacity, but in accordance with the existing contract, Your Honor, which provides that there is a 15% annual guaranteed return to the private sector. They were expecting, Your Honor, that when the additional capacity is put in, that they would charge the same 15% annual return to government as payment for the additional.
15% on the additional investments.
Yes, Your Honor.
So in this case, if they spent 3.7 billion, para sila nag-invest ng 3.7 billion sa money market at nakikita ng 15% a year.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's their claim.
That would have been their claim, Your Honor.
The position of the OTC is?
The position of the OTC, Your Honor, was that it would not have been conscionable, Your Honor, for government to enter into that type of arrangement, Your Honor.
So right now, the 15% that you're giving is based only on the original investment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tama? Yung
Yes, sir.
sinasubsidize natin ngayon.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which goes, 80% of which goes to Land Bank and DBP right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, kung hindi nila kinontract yung O&M, that's when you came in and that's where this whole issue involving GM Bitangkol came in.
The interim maintenance, Your Honor.
Is that the same thing? GM Bitangkol? That's the same thing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yung nireklamo ng Czech ambassador of late, yan yun.
Your Honor.
Or it's a different contract?
It's a little different, Your Honor. Actually, I think the so-called charge that's being aired by the ambassador relates to the purchase of the additional trains, Your Honor.
I don't think so. Attorney Bitangkol?
Yes, Your Honor, Yusek Rutilla is correct in that aspect. And during the first time that the ambassador came out, he was the primary issue that he is raising is about the supply of additional trains. But the second time that he came out, he is now saying that they are entitled to do the maintenance work of MRT3, which is an entirely different thing from the supply of trains.
No,
So
that's
we do not-
precisely what I'm asking. I distinctly heard on media when he was interviewed that it pertained to the maintenance contract.
Yes, Your Honor. So that part is really confusing and surprising to us, considering that they do not hold any proprietary rights over the trains of MRT3. And probably if he will come out again, he might then claim that they are entitled to operate MRT3.
OA na yun, ikaw naman. Hindi na siguro darating yun. To clarify again, so even you are not, any dealings the Inicon supplier had was with respect to the supply of trains, not the maintenance of the MRT.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may give you a background, Your Honor.
Please.
All the MRT3 trains were manufactured by CKD Tatra. It's a train manufacturer. It's a known train manufacturer located at the Czech Republic, used to be Czechoslovakia. But then, CKD Tatra...
Doon bumili ng tren yung private sector na nanalo dun sa BLT.
Yes, Your Honor. Then after some time, CKD Tatra closed shop. So, partly it was bought by Siemens Corporation and another firm, which I cannot remember right now. Then, when Inicon came, they were claiming that they hold the proprietary rights over the MRT3 trains, but they do not.
What do you mean by proprietary rights? As manufacturer?
Yes, Your Honor. Simply because the trains are made to order, as we have mentioned a while ago. And they claim that they have the rights over those design, which we do not believe. They were simply claiming that since
Intellectual property rights, you mean?
Yes, Your Honor. And the only basis that they are laying on is that they are both from the Czech Republic, which is absurd.
So totally different company to.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's the basis of the mic, sir. Yun yung basehan ng pagsabi nilang no proposal, no PPP bid, no nothing?
Yes, Your Honor. And they were claiming that they are pushing for a government-to-government deal, which the DOTC cannot accept, considering that we want it to be transparent and we want the deal to go through the usual public bidding, which the DOTC accomplished, Your Honor.
With the maintenance contract.
Both for the
Maintenance in the train.
both for the procurement of the trains and the maintenance, Your Honor.
As of now, to whom did you award the maintenance of the line?
Your Honor, right now the maintenance was awarded to a joint venture under the name of Global APT Joint Venture.
This is more of giving you a chance, Jim Bitangkol, to clear the air on the allegations. One is this global company you made mention of. Supposedly, kasama doon yung nirereklamo ng Czech ambassador. This Wilson De Vera guy.
Your Honor, with Global APT, Mr. Wilson De Vera is not part of that maintenance group, Your Honor.
He's not part of the company or he's not part of the maintenance?
He is not part of the company, Your Honor.
De Vera is not part of the winning bidder?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ano yung lumalabas na sa SEC documents daw na incorporator siya o kasama siya dun sa winning bidder? Again, I'm giving the chance, Attorney Vitangcol, to respond to these allegations. Hindi siya kasama dun? So, ano yung lumalabas sa media na ganun?
Your Honor, he is part of the previous maintenance provider, Your Honor.
Not the current one that
Not
won?
the current provider, Your Honor.
Which previous provider was that?
The previous maintenance provider, which we termed interim maintenance provider, is PH Trams Combuilders Joint Venture, Your Honor.
Dun siya kasama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hindi na siya kasama dito sa bago?
Not in the current one, Your Honor.
Now, another allegation is that the supposed address of the company cannot be located or found. Itong global na to, ah.
Your Honor,
I presume when you pick up the phone and call them up, they still answer.
yes, Your Honor. Because Global APT is holding office at the MRT3 depot, Your Honor. Maintenance provider as of line 1. And Global, which is another company of which the structure are majority from formerly Genials Corporation, Your Honor.
So it's foreign owned?
No, Your Honor. It's both
Local?
local, Your Honor.
Both local companies?
Yes, Your Honor.
Principal personalities would be? Mga may-ari talaga?
For the APT Global, Your Honor, this is owned by Mr. Dan Palami, Your Honor, which is the same provider as LRT1, Your Honor.
Dan Palami yung sa Ascal?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same guy from Ascal's?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Yusek Dutilia, given these circumstances that you're having a hard time with MRTco, and apparently this seems to be the root cause of the delays, whether in the procurement of trains or the entering into an agreement for the maintenance of the trains, that's why we've been having problems. Anong solusyon? What will you do with MRTco?
Your Honor, actually the equity value buyout should address all
But
of
it's
these
been going on
concerns.
for a long time. In the meantime, what do we do with them?
Your Honor, actually, since MRT Co. is really just in effect, holding title over the system, but we are doing both operations and maintenance, Your Honor. It's really more of a holding company, Your Honor, but in terms of actual control and possession,
They don't.
it's all with government, Your Honor.
It's with the government, but they keep on putting roadblocks along the way.
Agreed, Your Honor.
So what should be done about it?
I think, Your Honor.
I mean, they caused probably 6 years of delay in the procurement of trains, even more in fact, if by as early as 2004, when the ridership of 300 plus thousand was breached, they should have contracted new trains. Hindi tayo inabot sa gantong sitwasyon. Now we have to wait 2 more additional years before we can actually provide the needed trains. So you're talking of a total of 12 years of delay, simply because they did not do their end of the bargain, according to you. Pag nag-breach na naman tayo, ano mangyayari susunod?
I
If we
think,
breach 700,000 again, the maximum capacity including the new trains.
I believe, Your Honor, that because of the equity value buyout, Your Honor, then we will now be in a much better position as government, Your Honor, to do whatever is necessary to address all of these problems of MRT, Your Honor.
So right now, is MRTco still privately owned? COA?
In terms of the equity, Your Honor, it is 80%
Government.
private, Your Honor. Equity, Your Honor.
Equity, yes.
Yes. Beneficial interest, Your Honor, it's 80% government,
Government.
Your Honor.
So how do you resolve the impasse?
Well, Your Honor, although it's a little convoluted, I mean, I must admit, Your Honor,
It is. Ayoko magpanggap na naiintindihan ko,
Yes.
kunwari lang.
Yes, Your Honor. But I think, Your Honor, that once the equity value buyout, because the equity value buyout actually, Your Honor, allows government to clean up the entire structure so that the entire system is now owned by government.
So kahit na yung 15% guaranteed rate of return, maaalis yun.
Aalis po yun, Your Honor.
Para wala nang subsidy ang gobyerno. Although in theory, it's from one pocket of government to another to the tune of the 80% owned by Land Bank and DBP right now.
Opo, Your Honor. You're correct po, Your Honor.
According to your discussions with your principals, including the Department of Finance and NEDA, when will this whole thing come into fruition? Kailan magiging mag-isa yung equity at beneficial?
Your Honor, we are actually already working at it, and hopefully the next few months, Your Honor, we should be able to effect it.
Within the year?
Yes, Your Honor.
So within the year, wala nang away kung kanino yan.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you intend to reprivatize it soon after?
I believe that's the direction, Your Honor.
Hopefully within the term of the President?
If possible, Your Honor, yes, we would.
Now, on MRT DevCo, you said this was based on the BLT agreement. I have a problem with that actually, because if you look at any other rail system in the world, advertising is used to subsidize the railway system. Hindi yung gobyerno bumubunot galing sa taxpayers' money para i-subsidize yung mga sumasakay sa Metro Manila at yung buwis galing sa Tacloban, sa Mindanao, sa Bicol, sa Ilocos. And they don't get to ride these trains. How did it come about that this advertising income was spun off to another company which gets the income from advertising? And government is getting what? Are we getting anything from it?
There's a share, Your Honor, but it's not as much as we would have wanted.
MRT DevCo is owned by who?
MRT DevCo, Your Honor, is owned by the same group that used to own MRTC.
MRTCO.
Yes,
MRTC.
yes, Your Honor.
Now, you have a billing for MRT DevCo for over $1 billion, which they haven't paid or settled as your share.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ano na nangyari doon?
Your Honor, in fact, we have given them a demand letter, Your Honor. and-
I've seen it.
Yes.
You've sent several
yes,
demands
through the
letters.
years, Your Honor, and they came over again to DOTC a week ago, Your Honor. And we said, well, okay, how do you plan to settle this problem? And they were raising a legal obstacle that they said that this is the reason why they could not pay the OTC. And so we said, okay, well, where's that basis? They provided us with with an opinion which they said was issued by the DOJ around 6 years ago, Your Honor.
If I remember correctly, yan yung DOJ opinion na nagsasabing bawal maglagay ng advertising dahil pag may dumating na bagyo, baka lumipad at tamaan yung kotseng dumadaan at may taong mamatay. Is that the one?
I haven't read that opinion yet, Your Honor, because it was just given to us, and our legal is studying it at the moment. Your
Sir,
Honor.
at the end of the day, they're not in compliance. Why not cancel it? I presume under the contract and by virtue of the contract, if they did not pay, simple lang ho naman, di ba? Dapat bayaran kayo. Ayaw kayong bayaran. I-cancelayin yung kontrata at ibigay sa iba that can pay so that you can use that money to subsidize the system.
Agreed, Your Honor.
The 1 billion share is equivalent to what percent of the income they have been receiving? Under the BLT agreement, how much should the government be receiving as a share?
Your Honor,
Yes,
if I may
please.
answer. On an annual basis, based on the actual ridership, we generate approximately 2.1 billion pesos from the ridership alone. But the total requirements...
2.1 billion a year.
Yes, Your Honor. But for the total requirement that we need, including payment of the equity rental,
How much?
the maintenance and everything, it amounts to 5.5 billion pesos, Your Honor.
So may deficit ka na 3.4 billion.
No, Your Honor, it's 2.1 plus an additional 5.5 to cover everything. So the subsidy is actually 5.5 billion, Your Honor.
5.5. And government share, at least yung kinokolekta nyo sa MRT DevCo is approximately 1 point... How much? I don't know for how long that has been.
Uncollected po yan, Your Honor.
Uncollected ngayon.
1.8 billion, Your Honor.
1.8 billion is uncollected, covering a period of... In other words, magkano yung yearly advertising income na dapat nakukuha nyo from MRT DevCo?
Your Honor, maybe just check, Your Honor, because I can't recall the figure, Your Honor.
Kindly check. What I have here is initial utang nila was approximately 3.4 billion. They paid the principal amount of 2.4 billion, which leaves a balance as of February 2014 of 1.047 billion principal. And then interest of 849 million for a total of 1.873 billion. Are you aware kung magkano po ang kinikita ng MRT DevCo? If this were to go to us?
We don't know, Your Honor.
Kindly submit to us, sir, magkano yung porsyento ng gobyerno? Kasi kung porsyento yun, you can easily compute how much they're earning. Kasama ba sa reprivatization po natin, pati itong MRT DevCo?
Your Honor, as you've pointed out, since there are breaches of the contract, Your Honor, I believe that then cleaning up MRT should include cleaning up MRT DevCo, Your Honor.
Should, but is that the direction that LTO is headed towards?
Your Honor, I think that that would be where we should be headed, Your Honor.
At least ito hindi reprivatization, cancellation ng kontrata for non-performance of their obligations under the contract. Because if we are operating the units anyway, do we own those yung mga bakal-bakal sa MRT? Who owns it?
Yung mga advertising, Your Honor, I think we're set up by another company that they contracted with, to put up the
So
advertising.
that's now part of the facility. Nandun rin, nakalagay pa rin eh.
Opo, Your Honor.
Who owns it?
Owned by a company called Trackworks.
Trackworks.
Your Honor, technically it's owned by MRT DevCo.
MRT DevCo.
Yes, sir.
Yung mga bakal-bakal na yun.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who owns the system? Government pa rin, di ba?
Sir, the whole system is owned by MRT Corporation.
Right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, pag ma-reprivatize nga at ma-reacquire ng gobyerno, it naturally goes to follow that the accessory will follow the principal, whatever rights MRT DevCo may have. Stemming from MRT Co. Di ba? Mapupunta na rin sa atin once we get MRT Co.
Yeah, Your Honor, based on the BLT agreement, the concession period between the government and MRT Corporation is 25 years. But the concession period for MRT Development Corporation is 50 years. And it will survive the BLT agreement by 25 years.
Concession agreement between who? Government and MRT DevCo?
MRT Corporation and MRT Development Corporation, it will survive the BLT agreement for another 25 years, Your Honor.
How can that be? How can they bind us?
That's precisely a big question mark, Your Honor, considering that it is only a secondary agreement. So if the principal agreement does not
Precisely.
exist anymore, then supposedly the secondary agreement has no leg to stand on, Your Honor.
Alam mo yung sa tulan, GM, ginisa tayo ng pabali-baligtad parang karne rito eh. Nung binuo nila yung MRT Co, spin off nila yung MRT DevCo, hiniwalay na dapat kasama, sinecuritize yung future income at binenta, nilabo-labo nila. Aren't there any provisions in the contract that prohibits them from doing this? Again, the mere fact that advertising per se should be used to subsidize our rail system or any rail system, why did government allow it? Does government have a contract with MRT DevCo?
Your Honor, we do not have an existing contract with MRT DevCo. It's the supplementary agreement between MRTC and MRT DevCo, plus another agreement between the North Triangle Development Corporation, NHA, and MRT DevCo, Your Honor.
Labas ang DOTC.
I believe so, Your Honor.
What's the basis of them paying you and owing you money kung wala kayong kontrato sa kanila? Why do they owe you 1.8 billion?
Based on the BLT agreement, Your Honor, that they should be paying a certain percentage of the revenues that they are earning.
So there is a BLT agreement with MRT DevCo?
Your Honor. Actually, it started with the BLT agreement, Your Honor.
With MRT Co.
With MRT Co. Then there was along the way, Your Honor, they split it into two, divided the system itself from the development rights, and the development rights were then spun off into MRT DevCo, Your Honor.
And somewhere along the way, DOTC at that time allowed it.
That is our understanding, Your Honor.
What year roughly was that?
I believe around 2000, I think, somewhere there, Your Honor.
Year 2000?
Yes.
Pati siguro ikaw, Yusek Rutila, nahihilo ka na rin. Next time nga, paki-drawing nga sa amin yung intricate arrangement between the various companies, who owns what, who does what, who operates what, and ano yung papel na dapat gampanan ng bawat isa, including directions that you intend to take and the timetable insofar as ownership, operation, and control of the various units are concerned.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please, sir. Jim Bitangkol, it's no secret anymore that it's on TV almost every day yung pila sa MRT, particular dun sa North Triangle na mga tao. Basic reklamo nila. Bilyon ang ginagastos ng gobyerno para sa kalye, pero binabarya at ang tagal gumastos para sa riles. Mayaman yung may kotseng nakikinabang sa kalye, yung mahirap na sumasakay sa tren, palaging nahuhuli at hindi pinaprioridad. In fact, during the war, we had one of the more advanced railway systems in this part of the country, in this part of the world rather. Ang naging problema lang natin, pananaw ko, personal na pananaw ko, yung nagkataong tumutulong sa atin, quote-unquote, Amerika at Japan, parehong bansa yun, ang negosyo, puro kotse. Kaya lahat ng pinahiram at binigay sa atin pera, puro para sa kalye. Hindi ba lahat ng USAID, puro kalye, lahat ng JICA, puro kalye. Walang ni isang nagpautang o nagbigay o nag-encourage sa atin na ayusin yung railway system natin, na isa tayo sa mga nauna dito sa parting to ng mundo. Now, insofar as the current remedial measures being undertaken by MRT is concerned, anong solusyon nyo ron sa pila? Ayoko nung harang, ha? Hindi harang, ikaw naman hindi bentahan ng tubig. Anong solusyon dun sa pila?
Your Honor, ipapaliwanag ko po kung ano po ang nangyari noong mga nakaraang linggo, kung bakit po bigla pong napabalita na masyadong mahaba ang mga pila sa MRT3. Kami naman po ay nagtataka na kung bakit pag nagkapila po sa MRT3, bigla pong nababalita sa telebisyon at sa radyo, subalit kapag wala pong pila, ay matahimik po ang media
Siyempre,
natin.
hindi balita yun eh.
Hindi po kailan na nagkaroon po ng problema doon sa communications and signaling system natin noong I believe March 23, no? Kung pagkatapos po noon, para po maisaayos natin ng husto ang buong MRT3 system, and in order to ensure the safety of the passengers, naggawa po tayo ng malawakang pagtingin, pag-evaluate ng lahat ng mga ancillary facilities, including the signaling system of MRT3. And during that one whole week period, we reduced drastically the speed of the trains in order for us to evaluate the whole system. And then, after that 1 week period, when we were able to establish that the system is good, that the system is reliable, that the system is safe for the usual travel of the trains, then we returned to the normal speed of the trains and increase the number of trains running. Kung makikita po natin ngayon ang ating mga istasyon, wala po tayong ganong kalaking pila, at ngayon po ay minimal na po ang pumipila sa atin. Pero ang kasagutan pa rin po natin dyan, ang talaga pong solusyon sa mahabang pila, yung pong additional na mga trains natin. In the meantime po, para po mabigyan po natin ng karagdagang pagkalinga yung ating mga pasaherong naghihintay, naglagay po tayo ng mga tolda sa ating po mga istasyon kung saan mahaba ang pila. Pagkatapos din po noon, ay naglagay din po tayo ng mga water drinking stations para kung nauuhaw po sila ay malalagyan po natin. Hindi po natin sila sinisingil doon. At pagkatapos po,
Portalet,
hindi naman po kailangan ngayon, Your Honor.
sa haba ng pila, ikaw naman, No, but seriously, time and motion studies wise, ilang beses ba dapat pumila yung tao para bago makasakay ng tren? How many times does he or she have to fall in line?
Your Honor, minsan lang po. They have to line up to buy for the tickets. After buying the tickets, they have to enter the gates. After entering the platform gates, then they have to wait for their turn to board the train, Your
After
Honor.
buying the ticket, do they have to fall in line to enter the platform?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. So,
There are no lines there.
none, Your Honor.
Hindi ba pwedeng, again, time and motion wise yung bilihan mo, masikip yung lugar Nakasaya na ako doon Pagbili mo, magsisiksikan sila para pumasok, hindi ba pwedeng ihiwala yon para ang pila na lang talaga ng lahat para sumakay na lang makapasok sa platform? Hindi yung pipila ka para bumili ng ticket? Are your tickets on a daily basis? O hindi naman, di ba? Is there a way by which you can buy the tickets or get the tickets somewhere else, outside o kung saan, para lahat ng pumipila, papasok na lang, pasakay na lang?
Your Honor, ang main problem po natin ay napupuno po yung waiting platform. When the platform is already full, then we cannot allow the entry of more passengers. Otherwise, it will be not safe anymore, Your Honor.
So yung pila dahil hindi pinapapasok doon sa platform,
Dahil po puno na ang platform, Your Honor.
hanggat hindi nababawasan yon.
Yes, Your Honor. Hanggat hindi pa po dumarating yung kasunod na tren at hindi pa po navavacate yung platform, hindi po tayo pwedeng magdagdag ng mga panibagong pasahero doon sa platform.
So kung pumipila sila, saan ang isinan? Kung may pila papasok sa platform, yung bumibili ng ticket, pagbili doon pipila? Paano?
Your Honor, kung titingnan po kasi natin yung the design of our stations, Your Honor, it's not designed to separate really those who are waiting for the train rides and those who are getting the tickets. It's one continuous
In theory,
area, Your Honor.
I agree with you. Like with any rail system, nandun yung bilihan ng ticket sa gilid, yung entrance na katabi lang, nandun sa bandang kanan. But the fact is, puno siya
Yes, Your Honor. So, puno po siya, kaya po yung ibang naghihintay ng ticket, hindi po sila makabili kaagad ng ticket dahil puno na yung both areas.
Kaya nga, puno na nga yung both areas. So pagdating niya ron sa taas, aalis siya sa pila, correct me if I'm wrong, bibili ng ticket, at makikipagsiksikan pabalik kung saan siya umalis, dun sa pila papasok sa platform.
No, Your Honor. Tuloy-tuloy po yung pila. Pagkagaling po dun sa bilihan ng ticket, tutuloy na po sila dun sa gate, papasok po ng platform.
Puno nga yun Puno nga yung papasok ng platform GM
So, hihinto na po muna doon. Hindi na po magpapaakyat ng mga tao sa istasyon, Your Honor.
But time and motion nga ang sinasabi ko Yung pagbili niya ng ticket, nakapila siya para makaakyat, pagdating dun sa taas, pipila siya para kumuha ng ticket, assuming pila din yun. Tapos pipila na naman sa pabalik, o ayusin na naman nila yung sarili nila pabalik, para makapila na naman makapasok dun sa platform. Assuming pinigilan mo na muna umakyat yung iba. So may harang ka sa pagpasok sa stasyon mismo, may harang ka bago makapasok ng platform. Di ba? Dalawa yun. But can't that be, again, may time and motion naman siguro yan. You either get sell all the tickets downstairs, for example, isa lang talaga ang pila. Kasi aalis pa rin sila at pipila na naman dun May delay ka na naman dun bago sila makakuha ng ticket at makapila para pumasok sa platform. Longer waiting time on the part of those downstairs without a ticket.
Yes, Your Honor.
No, but ayaw ko lang kung may space.
That's actually the problem, Your Honor. The stations are small.
Nakakabili ka ba ng ticket ahead of time?
Po, pwede po, Your Honor. You have to buy a stored value ticket, Your Honor.
Na walang expiration?
Yes, Your Honor. 3 months ang expiration, Your Honor.
May expiration pa rin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Stored value which you can reload? Not anymore? You buy a
Not
fixed
anymore.
amount?
You buy a new ticket, Your Honor.
You buy a new ticket na?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hindi siya nare-reload?
No, Your Honor.
Hindi kaya ng sistema ng ganun?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Again, in some rails in other parts of the world, you can actually reload the ticket, and they have reloading stations in malls, kung saan. Again, para yung pila, mabawasan mo yung pila eh.
Yes, Your Honor. DOTC already has a project for that, which is the automatic fare collection system, which would allow the passengers to reload on a multi-basis
Off-site.
the cards. Off-site, Your Honor.
Off-site.
Yes, Your Honor.
Kailan naman ho yan?
I think Yusek
Limcaoco?
Limcaoco can answer that.
Mr. Senator, to solve the line and crowding, you need basically two things. One is the additional coaches so that you can extract more people from the platform quicker. And two, so that they don't have to line up several times. What we did is we actually awarded it just a week ago, what's called the automatic fare collection system. Parang ho sa Hong Kong,
Di ba may kaso rin yan, Isek?
wala ho. Reklamo, pero walang kaso.
Wala nag-file ng kaso. Walang TRO.
Wala ho.
Ito yung AFCS.
AFCS ho. Parang yung sa Hong Kong. Yung maglo-load kayo, tapos hindi na kayo
So when will it be implemented?
September 2015.
Aray ko.
Aray ho.
So darating yung dagdag na trend, magsisimula at 3 trains a month, February or March 2015. May implement yung AFCS September 2015.
Yes, sir.
In the meantime, tent na muna tayo at tubig at Portalet.
Yes, sir. What's important is we do recognize it, and as Yusek Lutillo said, these things should have been planned a long time ago. So we're playing catch-up ho. Do the things that should have been done a long time ago.
Actually, isang sistema yun, time and motion lang naman ang dapat gawin. Kahit sa airport, pipila ka para mag-check-in, pipila ka para magbayad, pipila ka para sa immigration, pipila ka para inspeksyonin na naman, pipila ka pa bago ka sumakay ng aeroplano. 5 pila yun eh. Na pwede naman bawasan talaga sa totoo lang yung pila eh.
Oh, dito ho sa tren, pwede ho yung wala ng pila. As long as we get those additional trains and the AFCS ho.
But until when will that be good for us? Before I recognize you, Sekam Bukayan. Until when will those additional trains be good for us based on your projections?
The capacity of the MRT3, correct me if I'm wrong, Al, it's up to 900,000 a day.
So maximum na yun.
It depends. So you can, it can reach up to 1 million pa kung if we tolerate yung talagang masikip, what is called crush capacity.
Which is still safe?
Safe but uncomfortable, like what we have now.
Like what we have now. So that's the maximum capacity. So that means if we want to achieve maximum capacity, we will be needing additional trains at some point.
Yes, we will need additional 24.
24 na lang.
Yes, and that will be the maximum capacity ho.
Hanggang doon na lang talaga yun.
Unless there's new technology that comes up, Your Honor, on better
Na parang
signaling.
double deck na tren.
Yeah, or we haven't seen that yet. But better technology on signaling, so the space between the trains, the durations between the trains can be much shorter. So then possibly you can add, but as of now we don't know the existence of the technology, sir.
But the infrastructure can accommodate as much as, meaning the platform, the trains, the rail,
Platform is only until 4-car trains. Your
4-car trains lang.
4-car
Sagad
trains.
na yun.
Sagad na ho yan.
So hindi pwede maging 5 o 6 yun. Magdadagdag ka na talaga ng train kung sakasakali.
Yes,
To modify the station. Your Honor, if we want to have longer trains, we have to modify the stations already. Because right now, the platforms, the length of the platforms can accommodate only 4 cars.
Saan ka kukuha ng space?
That's the problem, Your Honor. So we have to redo the stations, which is actually a big job if we will be doing that.
Actually, yes. Yusek Bukayan, sir.
Yes, Your Honor, I would just have comment on the previous issues on the queue. If we have additional train, actually, that may shorten the queue, because right now, if you have more people on the platform, then people will be queuing outside and they cannot sell the tickets and so on. But if we can have additional trains that will be starting next year, then less people will be on the platform, So the motion of the people coming in will be a lot faster.
Wala tayong option, Jem, to lease. May available train ba na pasok sa sistema natin that we can lease?
None,
Is
Your
that-
Honor.
No such animal?
Because trains are really made or tailor-fitted to specific lines, Your Honor.
So unique yon
Yes, Your Honor.
in any country in the world o dito lang?
Sir,
So
in any-
hindi interchangeable ang LRT1 train sa LRT2 train? Hindi? Depende kung sino manalo sa bidding kasi. But ideally, shouldn't they be interchangeable?
Sir, the trains can run from in between lines 1 and line 3. However, when it stops at the platform and it opens the doors will hit the platform. And then the floors of the trains will not be in line with the floors of the platform. So medyo may problema doon, Your
So what
Honor.
you're telling me is, ang train system sa Amerika, iba sa train system sa Spain, sa Korea, sa Japan, sa Pilipinas, iba-iba yan? And each line has a different one?
Probably, Your Honor, in the US, they might be interchangeable because they follow a certain standards. So there we have European standards, we have Japanese standards, and they have American standards, Your Honor.
So there are only 3 standards.
Yes, sir.
We follow which standard?
Your Honor,
Huwag mo sabihing Philippine standard, ah.
we follow both the European and the Japanese standards, Your Honor.
Which makes it unique. Which makes it unique in the sense na walang available train in the market that you can lease out for this particular purpose?
Your Honor.
Yes.
We did explore that, knowing the urgency when we came in. So we did try to look for trains that were immediately available, and you could only get yung mga second hand.
Yeah, second hand.
So we did look in Europe, and even the second hand specifically, you had a lot of differences, like the platform height did not match the height of the train. The doors would not open properly. If the doors open, matatamaan yung platform. The signaling of the cars also had to match the signaling currently with the MRT3. So there are a lot of these specifications that have to all match in order for it to be compatible with our system.
In other words, made to order talaga yan.
Opo, yan ho. Ang
Walang off the rack, ready to wear na available in the market in any part of the world.
we did not, just logistically, we don't know if it's possible to examine all the train systems in the world, Your Honor. But what we've tried to look for was something that matches, and we could not find. And talagang made to order. Our consultants were telling us it will be very rare if you're able to find one. So it is really made to order ho.
So when do you project that you will be ordering the additional 24 trains to max out the capacity of MRT3? Assuming full delivery ka by 2016, right?
The
2015, at 3 a month. Mga 10 months ka lang, that's only 30 trains. You have a total of
Yes,
48, so you have 18 remaining for the remainder of 2016.
So, tama ho, 2016 matatapos.
3 times 6, eksakto naman masyado sa June 30. Ikaw naman, I think you computed it backwards.
Well, essentially, that's what we mandated. We asked the suppliers what would be the fastest that they can deliver ho.
By that time kasi, baka kailangan na naman natin ng additional trains. And at the rate you're going, you might want to start
We
the
think,
procedure of procuring additional trains para by the time magawa din, eh, baka doon na rin natin kailangan.
yes, we think our projections show that we will be reaching the 750,000 mark
By-
2018 or 19, depending ho on population growth.
Actually, sir, for me, we have fiscal space for 2015 and 2016 given the improvement of the economy. I'd rather start the process now, acquire it even if it is not yet really necessary, kesa naman kung kailan masikip, doon na naman natin papahingahin yung pasahero. Maranasan man lang nila yung 2 taon na maluwag. Bago sumikip uli, if indeed your projections are correct, it will reach 900 to 1 million
Sige, we'll
by
continue.
2017 or 2018.
Originally, we were looking at starting the process 2016, but you might probably have a point, Your Honor. So we will
Might as
look
well
at...
do it now while we have the fiscal space. Hindi natin sigurado kung yung ekonomiya at koleksyon at lahat ay pareho pa rin. The trains, hindi naman masisira yung trend, di ba? Kahit bilhin natin ng maaga. How long is the lifespan of the trains?
Economic life of 30 years, Your Honor.
30 years naman pala eh. And you have extra trains also on standby, of course, kung may masisira, etc. etc. Hindi ito 1:1, ha?
Your Honor, standard procedure, 20% should be
Standby.
on reserve, Your Honor.
Precisely. I would advise you, Yusek Limcaoco, usually to actually begin with the process. Hopefully, we can do this by 2015 or... No, i-order na, i-award yung kontrata by 2015 or early 2016 so that it's being done already, it's being manufactured already for delivery in 2017 or 2018. Or even before that, in fact, kung kailan kayo kakapusin na, given the ridership increase. Anything you want to add, Yusek Buhayan?
None, Your Honor.
We suspend for a minute before we go to LTO. Attorney Binancol is excused kung sino na lang yung may iwan, sir, for LTO. We'll just take up 2 things with respect to LTO. Your plates, your new plates actually, and your stickers, as well as the system being undertaken by LTO now with respect to its offices. Before I call for a recess, just a question. I got an information. Is it true that some of your offices, hindi LTO may-ari ng mga opisina? It's being rented out, or you're renting it only?
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes, it is true. The structure itself, Your Honor, is not owned, some of the offices not owned by the LTO. We refer to them as proponents or investors. But the personnel and all the systems, all the equipment, Your Honors, belong to the LTO.
But in some instances, insurance companies own the buildings?
Not necessarily, Your Honor. The proponents usually have a tie-up with certain insurance companies because the allied services are usually what serve as their compensation for leasing or for allowing us to use the buildings, Your Honor.
Theoretically po, nakakatipid kayo, but there's a clear case of a conflict of interest in that particular situation. When we resume, sir, kindly
Yes, Your
inform us, ilan yung ganun?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hearing is suspended for a minute.